Definitely.
Our next question comes from Josh from Beaverton, Oregon. How can Chan think after beating Malia's father nearly to death that he will help him win over his daughter? Is he crazy? Oh, well, yeah, I think we all know by now Chan's a little crazy. He got to be living in that world. He's a crime boss. Got to be a little crazy with that. But also, I've never lived this life, but I have seen many movies and watched documentaries and stuff. And of course, Frank's not about to go and tell Malia who worked him over, or he gonna probably get another beat down, but the victim is scared to reveal who did it. So Chan is really banking on that discretion from Frank, that he's not gonna tell Malia that he's the one that did it, of course. So, yeah,
I agree. And like you said earlier, I feel like what Malia and Chan have already started to feel like that chemistry and that vibe, this wasn't necessary, but I guess at this point now the damage is kind of done. You know what I mean? Like, even if he would have came in there and he would have been like, oh, okay. Oh, that's your daughter? I know her. Okay, so this is what we're gonna do. I'm gonna let you go and just don't say nothing to her about that. I feel like he was kind of forced to have to like threaten him a little bit, because there ain't no way that man's gonna just let you walk about that place, like, and then not say, I need some insurance. Like, him threatening Frank at this level, like, it was a lot. But at the same time, once he figured out who Malia was, what would stop Frank from going and telling? Like, oh, and I got beat up by the guy that you hung out with at the club. Like, and he said he knows you. Like, because what if he would have just showed up at the house and they're all there and it's like, okay, well, that's the guy who attacked me. Like, you can't date him. So I feel like at this point, Frank feels, not Frank, but Chan kind of feels like this has to be an insurance policy. I have to make him know that I'm doing him a favor. I'm not going to kill him now that I know that, you're Malia's dad, but I want to use this to my advantage. So help me get closer to her. If you see any stumbling blocks or anything that possibly I can't see, I'm gonna need you to be the voice of reason. He didn't say this, but I'm sure he's thinking in his mind, if that foolish Mike decides he wants to start stopping over at the house and doing stuff, I'm gonna need you to be like, you got to go, player. I'm gonna need you to tell him, no. So I think that at this moment, not Frank, but Chan sees it as an opportunity to manipulate Frank. I don't think that Chan needed it though. But he also walked into the situation and it was kind of like, what do you do with this now? But I think like whatever they were building and whatever they felt for each other, he didn't need any extra help. Like, he had it taken care of, he had it covered. But at the same time, he did walk in on this man. Now he knows who he is. And so if I let you go and I don't scare you into like agreeing not to tell my secret, then you're gonna like spoil everything, and then I am gonna have to kill you. So that's that. All right. So I have a question, and it comes from Matt from Vancouver, Washington. Says, if Frank and Chan's plan doesn't work out and Malia becomes uninterested in Chan, do you think he would kill her whole family? He seems scary. Go ahead, Kiri.
We really don't know what Chan is capable of, honestly. So I wouldn't put it past him. I would not put it past him. Yeah, that's actually a pretty scary thought, And as much as I love my girl, like, if she decides to move forward in this relationship, it's kind of like you're gonna have to really play your position. If that is ever revealed to Malia, she would have to be really, really careful on what she did, and didn't do around Chan, just to make sure that her life wasn't in jeopardy, So that's a tough question.
Yeah, I definitely feel like with the type of man that Chan is, he wants what he wants, he's going to get what he wants. And some people are very much like, they know no boundaries. And I don't think Chan knows boundaries. I think he's just so used to always getting what he wants. I mean, he has money, he has power, and good looks, which doesn't help at all. Well, it doesn't hurt at all. It actually helps him get what he wants. Do I feel like he would hurt her whole family? I mean, why not? You know, like what would stop him? Who gonna stop him? You know, if he feels like in some way he's been misled or his feelings or his emotions have been toyed with, like, what would stop him from doing that? Who would stop him? Nobody could. So he's in a position of a lot of power, you know, to do the things that he wants to do. And it's scary to know that somebody could have those types of thoughts, you know. If you don't do what I say, I can hurt your family. If you don't do what I say, I can hurt you. That's really scary. So I don't put it past him. You know, I definitely feel like with certain people, you're like, I got to keep this person happy. I don't need people coming up missing. I don't need to come up missing. You might have to keep a few people happy until you can figure out a game plan to break and run. So no, I don't put it past that he has the ability to want to hurt her or anybody else if he didn't get what he wanted. Next question is for you, Kyrie.
All right. Question is from Angie from Tacoma. Hey, Angie.
Hey, Angie.
Having solid girlfriends and celebrating each other is important. What's the last win a girlfriend celebrated with you and you celebrated with them? Oh, okay. Okay, Angie. The last win. We be winning all the time. You know, we celebrate small victories over here. You know,
all the time.
I mean, and even a small and small, I use that word lightly, but even if we're having a hard day, you know what I'm saying? And even encouraging each other throughout that day. And, you know, maybe we didn't get a lot done that day. And, you know, we had enough energy maybe to eat and get back in that bed. Like, we still encourage each other through those times, you know, like, oh, it's okay. You know, we're going to start back up on it tomorrow. Don't worry about what we didn't get to today, you know, and just keep pushing forward. But yeah, I mean, I feel like we're always celebrating each other. So I'm like, when did the last
we celebrate each other all the time. Well, I mean,
think,
for instance, like,
yeah,
you just like uploaded, you uploaded your story to your new coloring book.
Books and different things. So, you know, we'll share the new stuff that we learned. So it's like, oh yeah. And Corenna, she'll have your head big. She'll be talking about she knows how to pour into somebody's soul. I'll be sitting over here like, yeah. And my husband be like, why are you smiling so big? And I'm like, Corenna's just telling me how awesome I am and how much she loves me. And he be over there like, okay. So I really love that, you know, we have found that in each other, because it is just, for me, it is everything. Just, you know, I mean, we self-soothe and self-love and self-care all the time, right? But when you hear that coming from somebody else, it is just like, tell me again. Oh, thank you. You know, I mean, it just fills me up, you know, and I just love it because, you know, we have not had a lot of that in our lives, you know, let's be honest, you know, and we come from, you know, some traumatic backgrounds, you know, and so when you haven't really had even, you know, parents always pouring into you and telling you how amazing you are and how beautiful you are and all that stuff, you tend to learn how to live life without it. You know, right. And me and my friends, we've lived life without it so long. And then we got to a point where it's saying, okay, our family is not going to do this for us. Let's do it for each other, you know, and then we just started pouring each other, loving on each other. Hey, I'm here for you, you know, so I feel like, you know, that's our little dynamic that we found in each other that I am so grateful for.
Me too. And again, I wanted to point out that she has a new coloring book, and it's so beautiful. And that dropped yesterday. You can go to Amazon. That link will be down there as well. And she writes stories. Like, she edits for me with Rose City. And then she'll be like, sis, can I like jazz that up a little? And I'm like, girl, jazz it. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, if there's anything that you're like, I think this is going to help take this scene to the next level, I'm like, run with it. There is a chapter that's coming, and that is the bridal shower from like hell. And I equate that one to like a director, because Kyrie, I was like, this is it, but I want you to run with it. And what she did with that chapter, I was like, oh my God, I screamed, I laughed. It was literally like seeing somebody direct a work of art in front of you. It was like she took that scene to the next level. So that whole chapter was really her. Like I gave her the bones and she constructed an entire body and put skin on it and clothes. And I was just here for it. She really, really, really did it big. But we always like celebrate each other. Just every day is a celebration, you know. We call each other up and we talk on the phone daily. If we're not talking on the phone daily, that's a problem. Are you okay over there? Are you sick? Are you in the hospital? You better be in the hospital. I remember one day I had been calling her and I almost act like an obsessive boyfriend sometimes. Like I'll just be like, she go, I don't even call my husband like that. I'll be like, if I call him once and he don't answer, I'll see him later. It's fine. He's busy. With her, I'll be like, I haven't talked to her. Girl, I mean, you know, you got 10 missed calls and 25 seconds. Are you okay? At one point, I called her husband. I was like, listen, I haven't heard from her and I need to make sure, you know, she's okay. Like this is a last ditch effort, but I need to make sure my girl is good because we have rules, you know, and our rule is even if you're having a day, you don't want to talk, you know, you'll just send a text like, oh, today I'm just going to lay in bed. I'm going to relax. Then I know that you're safe. If I don't hear from you, I freak out, you know, this man better not done nothing to my friend. I just lose it. But no, every day we really do. We celebrate each other and we hype each other up. Like she's talking about I make her head big, but she makes my head big too. Like she will, you know, run down an entire list of my greatness. And I'm like, oh, you know, or she's like, that person didn't recognize your amazingness, then that's their loss. And so like I just love that about her because I've taken on so much of who she is, like being her friend and her sister, like stuff that would happen before I would just be so upset. I would just be so devastated. And, you know, she know I still turn up. Like that ain't even a problem. That's not a problem. You know what I'm saying? It's probably a problem that I turn up. But I've learned so much peace from being around her, from being in her presence. I learned like all hell was breaking loose. Like this morning, like, okay. My cousin sends me a message. She's like, I can't do the podcast. The baby's been up all night and everything. So I'm like, okay, cool, got it. You know, even though it was like 6 a.m. and I heard the voice was like, something's going on with Alicia. She ain't gonna be here today. So I already knew. I just didn't tell her. I knew, okay, because the voice had already, the Lord. I'll say God, because I can't be listening to nobody else. Okay, so Jesus told me this morning. And that's like an inside joke that me and Kyria have. I'd be like, girls, it better be God talking. It better be God talking because I am not listening to nothing else. I'm in the middle of getting, you know, dressed and then the power goes out. And I'm like, you know, growing up Black, the first thing you're like, did I pay that bill? Like that is the first thing you think growing up Black. Oh my God. And I was like, no, I know I paid that bill. I went on my phone. I'm like, no. I'm like, okay, yes, I already paid for the month of March. I'm not due until, you know, April 4th and it's going to be paid before. So I'm like, I'm really good at paying my bills, you know? So I was worried about that. And then I had to do my daughter's hair. And I don't know why I didn't detangle it last night after we washed it, but that was my fault. So now I'm looking at all this hair and no light, walking around my house with my little camera phone. And it's just like the whole time, like I would just be like going crazy, but I'm on the phone with Kyrie and she's like, oh, okay. Well, you know, she's just such a peaceful person that it makes you stay in that vibe of like, it's going to be okay. Like, you know what I'm saying? And I'm getting text messages and emails and you got to do this or that needs to be done. And I'm like looking at all this and I'm thinking something good is happening here because usually I would be off the Richter scale. I'm tired of this bull and I'm sick of this and I'm just losing it. But today was just, I was like, with everything that's happening, I feel such a peace. And I know I get that from her because she's always like, not to minimize how you feel, but like, what is that going to change? Like, we can get mad. We can throw a glass. Like, if it makes you feel better, she'll like, just do it. Like, if you feel like that's going to release it, just do it, you know? But what she's taught me is like, what's going to, like, you can get angry and, you know, and just mad for the rest of the day. Is that going to change, you know, that situation? So if you're not careful, too much anger can actually cloud your decision-making skills. It can actually, you know, dilute your ability to find a solution because you're just so angry or so emotional. Like I said, so I've learned a lot from her and try to celebrate her sexy self every day because I'm just like, honey, you're everything. And she really is. Like, she's everything to so many people. She's not just like everything to me, where she is, but a lot of people get a chance to experience her. And I'm like, I don't want to share. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, it's good to share because she's growing and she's evolving and she's a writer and she's got her short stories. So please make sure that you put the link because she does the editing for this, right? And so I'm like, put your link in there for your short stories and stuff so that y'all can get over there because, honey, she's got some stuff that she has pulled out. And they're like different stories that are coming out, but they're funny and they're interesting. And she's just extremely gifted. And whatever she knows how to do, she's going to make sure that she teaches you how to do it too if you ask. So if I'm like, how do I do this? How do I do that? Like, she's more than willing to like, oh, okay, do this, do that. Blah. She's not one of those people who is like, she has to be the smartest person in the room. She's one of those people that she's here to teach you. If you need something, if you come to her, she's like, oh, okay, well, I'll send you this or I'll give you this, what I have. Like, she's always helping people. She builds businesses for other people. Whatever they need, she's working on it. So like, I mean, I'm grateful that she even, takes time out of her day to even want to do a podcast with me. Because I know y'all wouldn't want to hear me talking for an hour. So I love my girl. Next question I have. So the next few ones are actually from Angie. It says, this is Angie from Tacoma. Do you think these dreams are influencing Malia and Chan's attraction to each other? Absolutely. I think that even if without the dreams being there, I feel like if they would have just met, there would definitely have been an attraction there. But I think like the dreams have magnified things to a whole nother level. The dreams have gotten people feeling like they're already in relationships that they haven't even, formally been asked to be a part of. Like, that's something else that comes up in like a next chapter where it's like, are we together? And it's like, he's like, you're my girl. And she's like, I haven't been formally asked. I'm gonna need to be asked, because later on you could be thrown in my face. I never asked you to be my woman. We don't have any labels. Oh, we don't? Yeah, we do. So we have to make sure that those labels and those titles are in place because I'm gonna be like, on April 15th, you asked me to be your girlfriend. We was in the car. We just left that that restaurant on the waterfront. Don't play me. I'll tell you what you ordered. You know what I'm saying? I had the appetizer, blah, blah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. She's taking mental notes. Okay.
Yep. Don't pull all them receipts.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I definitely think the dreams are doing Malia a disservice because it's causing her to move quicker than, she would without the dream. Because she's just so ready to be into something and ready to get out of this dream world and, be with something real and have something touching her for real, something tangible, so definitely think it's influencing her a lot.
It's influencing her big time. And I will say, like, I was thinking about the story yesterday. I was working on another part for it, but I was thinking about the story yesterday and actually, I think me and you were talking. I was outside, cleaning up my garage and I was doing something with my little daffodils and stuff. And we were talking about like, if you were the last man on the planet, remember that conversation? And we were saying there are certain people, it's a never, last man standing. God wanted the world to end because he didn't leave you here for me. He didn't leave us here to procreate and repopulate the world because some people go together like water and oil. They don't mix. It's not happening. So we were kind of joking about that yesterday, but I was thinking about when you have been without a person in a relationship or physical touch like that, your body craves it. And I'm not talking about just sexually. There are times people are like, I just need a hug because human interaction is very big. And we downplay like, I don't need anybody. I mean, technically you don't, but there's benefits of having people. There's benefits of being around people. And I just really felt like she's going through all these different things and she's self-soothing. But like, how nice would that be to finally just be with somebody where you can just, I need that hug or I need that kiss. You know what I mean? Or just somebody to hold your hand or just somebody to watch TV with. We don't necessarily see how sometimes human affection really matters to us. And it doesn't have to always even be in a romantic capacity. It could be just with friends. Like my best friend living in Georgia is difficult for me. I'm sure it's difficult for you too. But it's difficult for me because I miss her and I just want to be like, let's go to lunch or let's go shopping. I mean, we don't really shop now like that. You know, everything's like online or packages coming to your house. But just the idea, there's just, you miss people. And so being able to see each other like this, I look forward to seeing her face every week. I may not be able to touch and feel her, but I can see her facial expressions. We need that. I believe that being around people who you love and enjoy, it boosts your serotonin levels. It's good for your mental health. And so I believe that Malia is just ready to be in that place with somebody, to have something of her own. There was a friend of mine, she spent Thanksgiving by herself. And she was supposed to spend it with her friend and her friend's family. But her friend had recently just gotten into a relationship officially with somebody, and he wanted her to be with him. So she's like, sorry, sis, I'm not gonna be able to spend Thanksgiving with you. So she ended up spending like the holiday by herself. And I was like, absolutely not. Like, I've already made a plan with my girl, and I'm not leaving her hanging. Like, no man is left behind over here. No woman is left behind. So we're going to have to, you're going to have to come with us, or we're going to have to do something, or I may spend, half my day with my girl and my family, and then maybe I'll spend the other day with you and your people. But I just can't let her just be by herself because, girl, he wants me to come be with him now. I'm sorry. You're not a very good friend. I'm supposed to say that. You take care of each other, and human interaction is extremely important. I do feel that those dreams have taken Malia and Chan's feelings for each other to a whole nother level. And it's like they are moving quickly. But sometimes it's like, are we moving too quickly, or have we been in this for a while anyway? Because again, like we have established for this story, maybe not in real life, but for this story, these dreams aren't just dreams. These dreams are like a portal to like an alternate world. So they've been experiencing these things together. You know what I mean? So it's almost like, are we moving too fast, or are we right on time?
Right on time, baby. Another one from Angie. How long does it take to know if you can trust a romantic partner? Good question. I heard a quote. I don't know if it's a quote or a saying, but they were talking about if you feel fireworks and butterflies in your stomach and you feel all those chills and all that stuff, that is not a good sign. That is a warning.
Yeah, I heard that too.
For things that your body is doing to say, this is the wrong, no, don't, stay away. These are alarms. And I never was told that until I was older, because when I was younger, they're like, oh, he's the one, you feel that way. That's, all these emotions and, that's love in the pit of your stomach and, all that. And you jump into that, right? You're like, oh, it must be because I felt it. I got the butterflies. And, everybody sees butterflies as beautiful things. And, so, and then the end of that saying is, if you meet someone and you feel peace and calm and, it's not really an excitable, you're not overly anxious and, feeling all these emotions, that's the one. And, I thought it was interesting when I met my husband, I never had these, little like butterflies in my stomach and chills and like all this stuff. Like, upon meeting him, I felt calm. We made this great friendship before any other feelings were introduced, and like, we're playing games on the phone and talking about each other's day and all that stuff. And I always felt calm talking to him. It was always nice to hear his voice. It was always hey, how's your day going? And just a genuine checking up on me. And he did that for a little over a year. And then I was like, he's been consistent in just being decent. Hey, how's your day? I mean, that was it. Never asking for inappropriate pictures, never asking for what I'm wearing, or asking, and other just inappropriate things you just don't ask a lady that you don't know on the level. You know what I'm saying? I mean, just complete gentleman for, this period of time. And I didn't have to check nobody and be like, don't be talking to me like that. Like, who you talking? Like, I never had to do that. And that's what really opened my eyes, saying, okay, now I've been presented something, his cards are on the table, you know, and then I was like, well, you know, I think I feel okay to, you know, show a card. I'm interested, you know, now I'm interested to go, you know, maybe we can go out if, you know, if you would like, you know, I'm open to a date, you know. And I remember I told him that, and he's like, what, really? You know?
We had a whole Melvin's moment, okay?
Right. He was like, I guess he was waiting for that, you know, like, but he didn't want to push me too fast. And, you know, I hadn't shared a lot, but I had shared a little, you know, that, you know, my traumatic past relationships and the things that I was, you know, working through. And, you know, even me setting boundaries of getting off the phone at 9 o'clock. You know, and not talking too late, because those conversations tend to change. People are tired. Emotions come up. So, you know, I had put that boundary in place, and he always respected it. He never, oh, well, you could talk for 10 more minutes, can't you? Like, well, your mama lived there. Like, never disrespected me, always respecting my boundaries, whatever I said. And he's just like, hey, I respect that, you know? So yeah, I think if you pay attention to people's behaviors, you know, and those characteristics that you say you want in a partner, then you can let your guard down little bit by little bit. You know, I don't think it's wise to fully give anybody your trust, but they can earn your trust. They can I just lost my train of thought. But yeah, they can earn your trust, you know, right, by their actions. That's what I was going to say. You know, the different things that they do. Yeah, and then they'll show you, you know, what my number one rule is: treat people how you want to be treated, right?
Oh,
and so
yes, absolutely.
You is what you can do in return. Because if they're being respectful to you, be respectful to them. If they're saying, hey, I like you, and you be like, well, maybe I like you a little too, you know, and see where that goes, you know, before you be like, all right, I think I kind of love you, you know. But yeah, I just think paying attention to those signs, those characteristics, those words matching action, not words alone, you know, and not action alone, because ain't nobody gonna be talking crazy, and then you bring me flowers and love bombing me, you know, oh, don't I treat you good? But you still talk crazy to me, you know. So words have to always match action, and action needs to match words, you know. So.
Amen to that. And I really appreciate that, because I remember, you know, when you were dating, and like, it's when we were like living in Bremerton, you weren't going out, but like you would talk on the phone, and like she started telling me some of her rules, and I was like, what do you mean you have to get off at the phone at 9 o'clock? Like, my mom's home, you know? And we talked about that, and I was like, you know, you're right. After 9 o'clock, the conversations can get inappropriate. And some people can say, well, you can get inappropriate at 5 o'clock. You're right. And then I probably won't be answering any more of your calls. Yeah, because you can be talking to me like that. But I feel like you really set certain standards. You set certain boundaries of like, that's not what we're doing. Don't ask me for no funky, dirty pictures. Don't ask me what you got on. When's the last time you, sir? You don't have access. You don't have access. You don't have the code. Okay. We are getting to know each other. You need to stop, you know? So I love the fact that, you know, you went into relationship, and I remember, like you said, that you had told some people kind of like some of your boundaries, and people laughed, and they're just like, oh, good luck. You ain't gonna find a man. No, you're not gonna find a man. I'm gonna find the man. I'm gonna find the guy. You know what I'm saying? You out here just willy-nilly with anybody who don't have those standards too. And then, you know, you upset with me because I have some. So I would definitely say that when it comes down to like, you know, how long does it take to know if you can trust a romantic partner? It takes time to build trust. You know, you have no history. You have nothing to build on with a person, right? So what you can do is not rush it too quickly. Take everything with a grain of salt, and really, like Kyrie say, allow actions to match, you know, what people are saying. Words and actions have to align. If you have told me that you have been a cheater with every other woman that you've been with, probably a good indication that I'm going to get cheated on too. Just, and like, let's just put it out there in these streets. If you have walked away from other relationships because, you know, you get bored, then at some point I'm gonna bore you, and it's just what it is. Like, I think I'm pretty amazing, but you know, I'm I can get kind of boring. Like, I like being at home. Like, I know some people are like, I gotta be out. I like being out, but I can't wait to get home. It's like, okay, well, another 2 hours, I'll be able to go home and get in my bed and watch In the Heat of the Night and Murder, She Wrote, and that's, and Bel Air or Insecure. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's where my mind's at. I just want to go home. I want to go home. I want to eat. I want to put my pajamas on. So, but yeah, I think the best thing that you can do when you're trying to get to know a person on a romantic level is just take your time. Take your time and look for clues. You said something earlier about the butterfly thing. We weren't taught that. I think everybody's like, he gives me butterflies. Oh, and people in my past, I always had butterflies. I would think of them and I would just feel this flutter in my stomach. And it wasn't until I think a couple years ago, a lady was like, that's not a good sign. If your body is turning and, when you think about this person, that's your spiritual person on the inside alerting you, danger, danger, run, run, run. Every time I think about this person, my stomach hurts. And when I met my husband, I didn't have any of that. And I was checking for it. I was like, I don't have any butterflies. And I thought it was the weirdest thing. And so I almost thought, because I don't feel these, but I don't feel it, then maybe it's not meant to be. Like, I was searching for that stomach fluttering, those cramps, all that stupid junk, right? I'm looking for that. I'm looking for that. And I didn't feel it. And I had felt it with other people. I just didn't feel it with him. And so those were the people who did me dirty. I'm feeling this strong bond. And those were those people that I thought, because I felt butterflies, those were the people who always, because they weren't genuine with me. They were on their own agenda, right? So with him, there was no butterflies. It was just, I got with him and we would hang out, and it was just like, we would just have so much fun, and we just laugh and we would talk, and we could just get in a car and just take a drive, and we would just drive around town. Let's go get a Starbucks, let's go walk around the park. It was fun. It wasn't like there was an agenda. There wasn't like there was anything. It was just like, let's get to know each other. I remember our first kiss. We were at Wrights Park. If you're from Tacoma, If you don't, then that's okay. Anyway, he picked me up from work. He called me. He was like, hey, can I take you to lunch? And I was like, absolutely. Who's going to turn away some food? Like, anybody who knows me, I'm a foodie, baby. She loves to eat. And the girl loves her food. And so he was like, oh, I have this little Vietnamese place take me to. He wanted to take me to, he said. And I was like, okay, like, I'm, kind of used to Chinese, but I'll do me some Vietnamese. Like, you don't have to worry about that, So I was like, well, what would you like to, what do you usually like to order? He's like, well, let me order something for you. I think you might like it. And I'm like, I'm down with that. We had like a really nice time. And then after that, I didn't go back to work for an hour and a half. They was like, I thought you would be gone for 30 minutes. I had other plans. So we went and we went to the park and we walked around and we were sitting on the bench, and that kiss is coming. It's coming. So I'm just getting my angles together because I'm ready for my kiss, because I wasn't gonna dare be the first person to go for it. But I saw him. He was working up the nerve to kiss me, and when he did kiss me, he kissed me on my eye, and I was like. I was looking for a little bit. No, you did not. He did. He kissed me on my eye. And baby, I was like, that wasn't what I wanted. And it was so sad.
I heard this story before, but I wasn't expecting that. I completely forgot. And that's why I was laughing so hard. Like, no, he did it. I'm all waiting like, oh, it's getting juicy. Like, yeah. And I'm like, oh my God, I totally forgot.
Yes, he kissed me on my eye, and I was like, my eye, and I was a little confused, but at the same time, like, my heart just like melted. It was like, that was really sweet of him. Like, literally for like the next few days, that's all I kept thinking about was the fact that he kissed me. Like, he kissed me on my eye. You know what I mean? It wasn't like he was clumsy with it. Like, it wasn't like, you're so stupid. It wasn't like it was a clumsy, like, oh, I was trying to go for your lips and I got an eye. No, he intentionally gave me a kiss on the eye. And I asked him later on, I was like, why did you kiss me on the eye? I thought I was gonna get a little lip action. And he was like, I thought it would mean more if I kissed you on the eye. I didn't want to rush into, assuming that you wanted my mouth on your mouth. And he was like, so I just wanted to give you a little kiss, on the eye to let you know that, you're really special to me. And I felt it, honey. I felt it all in here.
Like, thanks, Grandpa.
I liked his little eye kiss. I was like, because for me, I think that him kissing me on the eye showed me that he was somebody who would take his time and be patient. He wouldn't be trying to like rush me to his bed or anything like that. Like, we got time for that. Right now ain't the time, but it's coming. Don't you worry about that. So I think that, just taking your time to get to know people. Again, people can only fake it for so long. The mask will eventually fall off. And when that mask falls off, you'll know. But, just take people at their word. And if red flags are showing up, it was a red flag. So we'll go to the next question. This is another question from Angie. She says, Chan is leading a double life. Do you think this makes him a bad person? What would you do if you learned your partner was living a double life? Well, I would definitely, I'm going to say, as much as I'm infatuated with Chan, I think he's amazing. Chan is a bad person. Like, as we can see when he shows up to the warehouse, and he was going to kill Frank. Like, he was like taking his suit jacket off. He's getting some gloves, He probably like, where's my good knife at? Like, he was gonna end this man. He was definitely gonna dead him. So Chan is definitely a bad person. I like him, I like him, but yeah, he's a bad guy. I mean, he's into organized crime. Kind of have to be a bad person. I can't see you being being a member of organized crime and not being a bad person, not killing people, cheating, stealing, scamming, getting over on people, just doing terrible things. How could you not do that? So yeah, he's definitely a bad guy. He's definitely living a double life. Says, do you think this makes a person a bad person? Yes, it makes him bad. What would you do if you learned your partner was living there? I would be shocked. I'd be shocked. I'd be floored. My husband is so just, he's an open book. He's very transparent. He don't hide nothing. He's a person who, his phone is laying all over the place. He doesn't really use social media. And if he does, like, he's like, here's my passwords for everything. Here's my phone code. Like, I'd be like, how did you manage to hide a whole nother life? Maybe even a whole nother family from me. Like, do you have a second phone? I'm just trying to figure out, like, how does this work? Because he's so open. I would be definitely dumbfounded and shocked. And I also think that it's something that happens every single day with people. I think that people are in relationships with people even for years, and they find out the person was living a double life, and it's very painful because you're just like, how did I miss that? And I think, Monica, you can speak to that. You're with people who live double lives, and it's devastating because you feel like, how did I miss that?
Yeah, I definitely agree. And, sometimes I can get a little too deep in, why people are the way that they are. And I don't really like to label things as bad or good because, you're born into certain lifestyles and it just is what it is. But at the end of the day, let's just call a thing. And, he is a bad guy for doing the things that he does.
Right.
Because outside of, him being born into it, you still get to an age where you have a choice,
Right.
And he's made his decisions to continue, family tradition. Yes, I have been in relationships where they have lived a double life, and it is, after you get over the shock of it and the emotion, it's just like, okay, now I got to start planning something else,
Mm-hmm.
And that's it's never been like anything crime related. Like they're a whole crime boss, because
Right.
I feel like if I was in that situation, you're not going to be able to leave and go anywhere, and we see these shows all the time, and it's just like, what would you really do in those situations? You really got to play it cool, especially you got children. You don't know, you take off with those kids, and
He's sending people after you.
Yeah, they're going to send people after you. They're this dude in the street, possibly kill you and, keep the kids. Like, you never know how that's going to play out. So I would play that real cool. And I don't like being backed in a corner. So I know that I would be plotting my way out, even if that was to take somebody out, you know. If that's the only way out, you gotta, defend yourself and your kids, because I'm not about to just be living this life the rest of my life living in fear. That's what we're not gonna do.
Right.
So yeah, to not go into detail, I would plan a few things to, get you out of this world, before you got me out of this world, to protect me and my children. And, you don't go poking Mama Bear, because she'll scratch your eyeballs out. So yeah, that's the double life for me.
Yeah, I think in a situation like that, because we don't know, we're seeing that Malia has strong feelings, and we feel like Chan wants the same thing that she wants, but we'll see the story unfold. And does it bloom into this, or blossom into this, beautiful relationship, or does it fizzle out, or whatever happens? We'll find out. But it definitely would be quite alarming to know that you're with a person and they're not who they say that they are. And then their lifestyle is dangerous too. Like, oh, okay, so not only did you lie, now you put me in danger. I see, So, and like you said, you add add children onto that. That's another layered effect of, like, it's not just me, it's them too. And how do I get them out of the situation, or how do I escape from something like that? But even if it's not organized crime, it's not okay for people to live a double life with you. You got a family over here on the other side of town. Like, again, if you wanted a polyamorous situation, you should have told me, and we could have had a discussion. I could have been like, no, I'm not the woman for that, but I want you to have what you feel that you need to be happy. People aren't open and honest. Tell people what you want and what you need, and then the universe, or whatever you want to call it, is going to bring you what you need. I'm not going to sign up for that, but somebody else might.
Yeah, and I was just thinking that, a double life isn't always, cheating or having an outside family, or, being a crime boss. Even if you're not being authentic and honest with the person that, you talk to every day, you laugh with every day, you go to bed with every day, and then you leave the house and you are a completely different person with your friends. You're not.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Yeah, that's a double life too. You know what I'm saying?
I agree.
And,
I agree.
Even seeing that, it's just quite shocking. And then you feel like, well, how come you can't share that side with me?
Right.
There are all these other things. Why would you just choose to leave that off the table? Like, that's kind of weird, so there's layers to that double life thing.
Yeah, because I also get, like, I see the whole, I have friends and people that I know, and it's like, I'm the nice guy, right? The whole good guy crap. But then it's like, you do things when the person that you're in a relationship isn't around. Like, let's think about it. Like, you have to engage in certain conversations or do certain things that other people aren't around. Why? Because I'm gonna say, as crazy, as spicy, whatever you want to call me, I am me, and I'm me in front of my husband. You know what I mean? Like my brother had said last week when I said something about Michael B. Jordan or whatever being attractive. He is. And what, he gonna get offended because I said another man's handsome? The man is handsome, okay? But at the same, like, we can have these conversations. I'm like, you know what? He looked really great as Killmonger. We can have those conversations. He could be like, you know what? Megan Thee Stallion, have you seen her? Oh, she was beautiful the other night. She had on this beautiful. Like, I'm not gonna be like, so is that what you want? You don't want this pony? You want a stout? Okay. I'm gonna take my little 5'3" self over here and sit down, because clearly you need them 5'10" and up. No, you know what I'm saying? Like, we have conversations, and so it's not like I say something and then he'll watch and be like, oh, you feel this way? Yeah, you've been with me for 18 years. You know what I feel. We know each other. So I think that's a very good point that you make, where, like you're talking about, it doesn't always have to revolve around cheating. Just people not being themselves, just going out and maybe, like, if you, like, I know we talk a lot about church because that's like where we're from, that lifestyle, like, heavily, right? If you're at church and you're, oh, bless God, Jesus, hallelujah, saints, and you're going home and you cussing the family out, like, I will F you up, like, because you didn't clean the bathroom. You know, that to me is a double life. You know, that to me is living a whole girl, I got stories. Not about my own self, because that ain't nothing I will put up with. But I love my father, but I felt like he was kind of like that person, like he lived like a double life. Like people knew him, but then at home, I feel like he was somebody else. You know, I feel like at home we got the real. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I think double lives are something that should not be. I'm not going to behave in public in a certain way and come home. I feel like I've done that already. You know, so like no, I'm going to be authentic. And so if you say I said something, my husband and my friends will be like, yeah, she said it. They'll be like, yeah, that sounds like something creative would say. Or I'm like, that's not her at all. Because you know me, I'm not portraying myself as one way in front of you, and then behind your back, I'm something else. That's crazy, and nobody has time for that. Any final thoughts? She's like, nope. Yeah, I bet you can't wait for your salsa. You know, like, yes. All right. That's it for this episode of Rose City After Show. We hope you enjoyed our discussion on episode 10. Don't forget to tune in next week when we will be diving into episode 11. If you haven't already read it, you know, right now is the best time to get in. The first 3 chapters are free on Kindle Vella, so there's really no reason for you not to check it out. It's free. I'm sure you'll be hooked. New episodes are being published every week. We just published episode 32 on Sunday, so for those of you who are already there, jump on in there and get you some. We love hearing from our readers, so please add your thoughts, questions, and theories to the comments or reach out to us on Rose City The After Show on Facebook. All links will be provided in the description. Thanks for tuning in. We will see you again next week in Rose City. Bye.